Hey money friends, today I'm going to do something a little bit different and take you inside my investment portfolio. We do not publicly share the numbers of what we've invested in our portfolios, in our 401k and stuff like that, just because that's something that we decided not to do. But today I'm going to show you what I have actually invested in. So you won't get the numbers, but you'll see what I actually buy. And because I'm a huge index fund person, you'll see which index funds I personally love and have in multiple portfolios. So I know a lot of you ask what I actually invest in, so today I'm going to show it all to you. If this is your first time here, my name is Mary, and this is Pennies Not Perfection. It is a channel where I talk about all things money because I know that not everyone in real life likes to talk about money, so I found this little community online where we can talk about money and we can talk about doing better things financially to improve our lives and to achieve more freedom in our lives for our family without getting so hung up on our past mistakes, because everything can be fixed, everything can be corrected, and with the right knowledge and consistency, you can do anything. One of the big mantras we have here is consistency over perfection, and investing has definitely taught me that this is the case. Being consistent and constantly putting in money into index funds or whatever you're investing in is so much better than getting caught up on the mistakes you may have made with investing. Because yes, most of us do pick the wrong stock or the wrong thing, or we invest at the wrong time. It happens. But being consistent and adding money to your investments over time really matters more than anything else. With all of that said, let's get into the portfolio and look at what we've actually invested in my 401k, my Roth IRA, and my brokerage account.
Okay, hopping over here to my planner, I'm going to write out all of the different accounts that I have and what I've invested in each account. I will show some screenshots. I'm not going to share the numbers, obviously, but I will show you the exact funds and stocks that I have bought, just because I think that it's interesting to see what other people are investing in. Obvious disclaimer here, I'm not a professional. I am not anything that is someone you should listen to advice from about money or what to invest in. I am only doing this just to entertain you guys. So I am sharing what is in my personal accounts, but these are not recommendations and I am not a financial advisor. So talk to one before you make any investment choices. I will be going over my personal choices just for entertainment, of course, and that will cover my 401k, Roth IRA, and brokerage account. That is the three accounts that I invest in pretty regularly every week. Actually, I am sending money to one or the other of these. My Roth IRA, I send money every single week, as well as my brokerage account, a little bit less there, obviously. And then my 401k, every time I get paid, money goes there. Okay, starting with my Roth IRA, this is the account that I've had the longest, and the first thing I ever invested in was the Vanguard Target Retirement 2045 Retirement Fund. This is a fund that kind of gives you a broad asset allocation. So there is stocks and bonds, and then as you get closer to that retirement date, it moves more toward bonds. It is something that I've used for a long time just because it felt really easy to set it and forget it, and so that's why I did it. So 70% of this account is in that, and then I've recently, within the last couple of years, started just putting money into a total stock market index fund, VTSAX. This is one of my favorite index funds because it gives you such a broad exposure to the market. It's basically like all stocks in the market, and it is going to give you the same returns as the overall stock market, which can be good or bad depending on the time. Overall, in historical returns, it's pretty good. Then I have about 25% in that, and then I do have a few shares of individual stocks in this account. There's not much, and I don't plan to ever have this mostly in individual stocks, but I did invest in just a few of the things that I really appreciated. I have a few things like Apple and Tesla and PayPal and Square that I think are going to continue to do well long term, and these are all things I plan to hold for several years, if not 20 years. So it's not something that I buy a lot of like flash in the pan type stuff. It's stuff that I think is going to continue to either make money or grow long term, and that is what I do here. I do have so much in index funds that it really doesn't make a difference. And one thing about this account is that my Vanguard Roth IRA account, you can't do fractional shares, so you have to buy a full share. So it's a lot harder to buy things like Tesla if it's $400 or $600 to buy one share. You have to have the money already there to purchase that. So I don't do a ton of individual stock buying there, but the ones I do have all gone up since I bought them, except for Rocket Mortgage. So I've had a really good run with my stocks that I did purchase in that account. So my 401k is next, and my 401k is my work 401k. This is actually the first 401k I've ever had. I've been there 5 years, so I have been investing in my 401k for the last 5 years because at minimum I get 4% of my salary as a match. So of course I'm going to put money in this account. So I can only select funds here. So of course my main one is again VTSAX because it is the total stock market overall, and since I am a long way from retirement, I want to get as much gains as I can, so I invest mostly in the stock market. My account is 75% VTSAX, and then I have also the Vanguard Developed Markets Index. So this is developed markets outside of the US, like Canada and some countries in Europe and Asia. So this accounts for 10% of my 401k portfolio. Then the next one is one that tracks the emerging markets. And this was one that I probably wouldn't have selected myself, but I had a developed portfolio based on their recommendations. And I did lower the exposure of this one a little bit and changed what I had, but the Vanguard Emerging Markets Stock Index is 5% of this portfolio, just so that I do have some exposure to that and it's not all just the US and the major developed markets. So then that is 5% of my portfolio inside my 401k. The next fund that I have in my portfolio is VBTLX, and that is a total bond market index. All of these are Vanguard funds, even though Vanguard does not run my account. The account that I have pretty much entirely uses the Vanguard index funds and mutual funds. So I do like that because I've been a fan of Vanguard for a long time, just because everything is such low cost. They have really low expense ratios, so you're not paying a ton for them to manage things like index funds or even their mutual funds. They're still very low expense wise. So my next fund I have here is VGSLX. That is the Vanguard Real Estate Index. So I don't have any index funds in real estate or anything like that in my Roth, so it is something I put into my 401k, and 5% of my account is made up of that. So here you can see my returns since I've started all time on the different funds in my account. You can see that even with index funds, I have returns ranging from 30% to 9%, so I've really done well in this account, even with just index funds, not picking stocks or anything, just having money consistently go into this account, having really good returns. So next is my brokerage account, and this is going to be my M1 Finance account because it is the one account that I feel like I've done the best with, just because it's not very much based on emotions, and it's not like Robinhood where I too quickly make decisions. So I basically in this account pick stocks that I really love and think are going to do well long term. Then I use those stocks to make a pie, and every time I invest, the account buys a fraction of what I've put into that pie. It's really nice because if you don't have the money to buy a full share, you are still getting the benefit of investing into a particular stock or ETF or whatever you've selected, and it is something you can do consistently. I have 2 pies in my M1 account, and I have a lot of different stocks. Not a lot. I have a few different stocks in both of these. I have a lot of tech stocks, so I have Tesla, Google, Amazon, and things like that. In my tech pie, I have a specific tech pie, and then I have a pie that I started when I first signed up, which I had put Berkshire Hathaway there, and it has not given me great returns this year, but it's something that I had always looked up to and wanted to invest in, so that was in my first pie. But the best ones I've done have been tech stocks like Microsoft and Apple, and literally stocks I picked because I use them in my day-to-day life online. So Adobe, Shopify, which just killed it during the whole 2020 year, and Pinterest. So things that I am constantly using, things like PayPal and Adobe that I run my business on, and then Netflix that we watch all the time. And then I did recently add the ARK Investment Management Innovation Fund because they pick stocks like that in their ETF. So I did add that. And the thing I like about M1 is that you can adjust your pie and add or subtract slices or change the level that you're investing in when you put money in. So every time I'm putting like $10 in a week, I am buying a little sliver of each one of these, and it has been going really well, of course, because a lot of these did really well in 2020, which of course makes me wish I had invested more into them because I would have made more because I put more money in. But investing in mostly tech during this period with growth stocks has really turned out well for me, and I'm very happy with this particular brokerage account. So next, I just want to run down the investment returns that I've received in these accounts because I think that's interesting to look at overall. So some accounts have definitely done better than others. My brokerage account in the last year has killed it. It is up 95%, which is 1 year returns. Even not having that, that's why I wish I had put more money in this account, because it had 95% returns this year, and that's pretty insane. So my 401k has had 23% returns over 2 years. I couldn't find the 1 year return, but over 2 years, this has had a 23% return, which I think is really great considering it's all index funds basically. So it's nice to have a 23% return over 2 years with index funds. Then my Roth IRA has had a less great return over the 1 year. It's had a 5.2% return over 1 year. And unfortunately, that's a lot of it because of the Vanguard retirement 2045. It's not had the best, but in the last month, overall, this account has had a 14% over the last month. So that's a rundown of all of my accounts and what's inside each one of them. It was really interesting to look through this myself because I don't do this too often. I hope it was entertaining for you too.
Okay, that's it. That's what I'm invested in, and I will probably change and sell out and switch out a few of the stocks, but for the most part, I am just a index fund, set it and forget it type person, consistently adding money, and it adds up over time. The market returns are usually pretty good for me, and that is what I like the most. So that is what I stick with. You don't have to use other plans if you're happy with what you're doing. If you want to see more videos about investing, let me know in the comments, or actually let me know what your favorite investment is. What is your favorite investment? What is your favorite either index fund or stock that you have in your portfolio? Because I would love to know.